don't mind me. I'm just casually scooping the water out of my fucking interior. Yeah, don't mind me. No, we're good. We're all good over here.
What's up, guys, and thanks for stopping by. I'm glad to see you. And today, we're going to be talking about the good and the bad of how the cheap Jeep did on the shakedown run. So, let's get right into it. Overall, the Jeep did great. Very capable in stock form for light off-roading. Even with almost bald tires, it kept traction most of the time. The Jeeps from the 90s and before are built different. Not like my 05 WK. This Jeep feels tougher off-road and doesn't have much hanging to rip off. On the WK, I ripped a ground, destroyed a seal, and bent my trailer plug all in one trip. The XJ didn't sustain any serious underbody damage. All the important components and wires are tucked up above the unibody rails. The motor is also extremely torquey. The WK's Hemi definitely does make more power and torque, but the WK is a little overweight, and it shows. The XJ is very light, and the 4.0 moves it easily. The turning radius is tight and visibility is good on all sides. The vehicle is also extremely narrow. This comes in handy on tight trails. The T-case is shifted by a mechanical lever, not electronically like newer Jeeps. This makes the four-wheel drive much more reliable as it can be shifted by hand even if the linkage is broken or if the shift lever itself breaks. On top of all of this, the entire vehicle is extremely easy to work on, meaning it's simple to replace anything that you might break on the trail. I always say you can fix just about anything on a Cherokee with a big rock and some duct tape. But of course, all stock vehicles have their limitations. The goal of this shakedown was to find all the cheap Jeep's weaknesses, as well as to get a baseline to compare to as we do upgrades. So let's talk about some of those weaknesses and what upgrades will do to overcome them. First off is a problem that a lot of Cherokees seem to have in warmer areas: overheating and heat soak. Heat soak is not being able to restart the vehicle after it has gotten hot and then been turned off. My Jeep would overheat often when crawling in hot weather. Then I would have to pop the hood and let it cool 15 minutes before it would start back up. Every time. You can imagine how annoying it gets after the fourth time. The best solution to this is just keeping the engine cool. I plan to give the entire cooling system a good flush, refill it with clean coolant, and then I'll also install a toggle switch for the E-fan. That way I can run the fan whenever I like to keep the temperatures down low. If I still seem to have problems after that, I'll throw in some hood vents to increase airflow. Next is an issue most stock off-road vehicles have: ground clearance. The Jeep just didn't have the ground clearance for some of the more difficult obstacles. I sunk it in the mud almost up to the windows, and I blew the door speakers in the process. I also got high-centered trying to crest steep hills. My approach angle was worse than factory because of my winch bumper sticking out. However, the stock approach angle is actually pretty good. The way to increase these angles and avoid getting hung up is to raise the vehicle's body. Lift kits for Jeep Cherokees are cheap and easy to install at home, making this an easy fix. Just a couple inches makes a big difference, both in ground clearance and by giving you space for bigger tires. I plan on lifting mine 4.5 to 5.5 inches, depending on what size tires I decide to run. The last big issue limiting the XJ in stock form is its stock tires. The stock tire is a Goodyear radial all-season tire in 225/75/15. This is about the equivalent of a 27-inch tire. In heavier off-road scenarios, these just won't cut it. The tire is just too small. It's easy to get hung up in ruts or smash your differentials into rocks with tires this little. The tread on all-season tires isn't good in mud or rocks and is only suited to light dirt trails. However, these tires were designed for the road, and they did good on the trails for what they are. The biggest upgrade that this Jeep needs to be able to tackle some harder trails is a larger set of mud tires. With some better tread, this Jeep will be ready to really tackle some big obstacles. I'm thinking 33s will be a good size for an all-around build, but I haven't decided yet. To sum it all up, The three biggest limitations the Jeep XJs have in stock form are overheating, ground clearance, and the stock tires. With these three things sorted out, these Jeeps will turn into off-road monsters. Even in stock form, it did well keeping up with lifted vehicles. I could make it anywhere my buddies could go, although I sometimes had to take a different line. Once we have a couple upgrades, we'll take another look at how the cheap Jeep performs and tackle some harder obstacles. But until then, drop a like if you liked, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment if there's something specific that you want to see me fix. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, guys.